All right. So, good evening, everybody. And कहानियों के लिए तैयार हुए हैं आप सब? A very, very vibrant country, है ना? So, चलिए, let's get ready with the aids for stories right from our homes. So, today, we're off to Storyland. We are going to use things from our beautiful country and very, very simple resources and see where we can take our children to. So, let's take you to the land of stories, where you may see a little butterfly, where you will see a little bird, a deer can hop out. And are you all ready? So, where to go? Okay, so I'm going to start with a little story that's going to tell the children about the environment in today's times, all right? So I'm going to be using a dholak, or I could just be using a tabletop. Whatever you have at home. Stories don't need so much of preparation. They just need a person who's ready to tell the story and people who are ready to listen to it. So are we ready to go? एक छोटा सा कीड़ा आया, एक छोटा सा कीड़ा आया, देखो किसी को नजर ना आया, नजर ना आया, नजर ना आया. एक छोटा सा कीड़ा आया, उसने हमको बहुत सताया, बहुत सताया, बहुत सताया. लेकिन आज हम मास्क देखो पहनते हैं, हाथ देखो रहते हैं. मास्क देखो पहनते हैं, हाथ धोते रहते हैं. एक छोटा सा कीड़ा आया, मिलके हमने उसको भगाया, उसको भगाया, उसको भगाया. तो जब ये कीड़ा आया था तो हमें किसी को नजर ना आया, तो हमने क्या किया? हमने मास्क पहना, बहुत सारी दफा हाथ धोए और उसको भगा दिया. तो आपको एक और चीज मैं बताती हूँ, जब हम कहानियां सुनाते हैं तो हमें बच्चों को इन्वॉल्व करना चाहिए. When we narrate stories, involve the children. You involve them in small dialogues, involve them in a clap, involve them in small little things that would excite them. It could be a small beat of music. It could be, just a dupatta on your head. It could be you hiding behind a table and beginning a story. It could just be an exciting, beautiful world to take your children to. Now that I had this dupatta in my hand, it's actually a little stuff. I'm actually going to create a corner. Take a pin, it will be corner, pin it up. Okay? Or we just tuck this in. Tuck it in and spread it out. Put a cushion under it. So, put a cushion under it, spread this out, put a set of books next to it, and create a beautiful story corner for your children. Right at home, all it will take is one little dupatta, one cushion, and this cushion can also become a stage for the child to sit down and actually tell you a story. So the wonder of storytelling and the most beautiful way to do it. Right, so let's start with another story. I'll be using stories in two languages, Hindi and English, because those are the only two languages I can speak fluently. But for Hindi, you can replace it with all the stories of any of the mother tongue, so you can do it in Tamil, you can do it in Marathi. It's perfectly all right, but try and use pure languages when you do a story. If I do a story in Hindi, it will be fully in Hindi. And then perhaps I'll convert it to English. So are we all ready to go? Because this was the one that you all saw. So right there. Are you all ready? Behind me, you see, we've used pockets and we've used, little puppets on sticks. These are pictures which children can draw and color and keep them ready for story time. So are we ready to go? जंगल में रहते थे कुछ मोर, ठुमक ठुमक कर नाचते, नाचते चारों ओर। बारिश का जब मौसम आता, हर मोर अपने पंख फैला के खूब इतराता, खूब इतराता, खूब इतराता। तो सब अपने पंख फैलाइए। एक जंगल में रहते थे कुछ मोर, ठुमक ठुमक कर नाचते, नाचते चारों ओर। बारिश का जब मौसम आता, हर मोर अपने पंख फैलाता, पंख फैला के खूब इतराता। अब गर्मी गई, बारिश का मौसम आया, कहीं नहीं था पानी, कहीं नहीं था पानी। मोर ने सोचा कहाँ गई भाई, कहाँ गई ये बरखा रानी। फिर वहां पे हाथी आया, शेर भी आया, चिड़िया आई, बंदर आया, सबने उसको ये बतलाया। एक लकड़हारा आया था, जोर 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 से उसने कुल्हाड़ा चलाया था, और उसने सारे पेड़ों को गिराया था। फिर बादल आए और बारिश नहीं आई। तो फिर उन्होंने, क्योंकि पेड़ नहीं देखे ना भाई बादलों ने, फिर बात समझ में आई सबको। फिर छोटी छोटी चिड़िया आई, छोटी छोटी चिड़िया आई, अपने साथ छोटे छोटे बीज बुलाई, बीज बुलाई, बीज बुलाई। अब सबने मिलकर बीज लगाए, बीज लगाए, बीज लगाए, और खूब जंगल उगाए। अब जब बारिश के बादल आते हैं तो हरी हरी पेड़ और हरे हरे अब जंगल को देखकर खूब पानी बरसाते हैं। और मोर क्या करते हैं, चलो जल्दी से खड़े हो जाओ, ठुमक ठुमक कर सबको नाच कर दिखलाते हैं। तो आप जल्दी जल्दी ठुमक के दिखाइए मुझे, एक दो तीन चार, एक दो तीन चार। NEP says bring in India into your classroom. It is as simple as this. It's very, very simple to create a process, bring in music into the classroom. Like, for example, this story, and then bring it into different domains. You know, when we talk about domain development, it means the personal social domain, the language domain, the critical thinking, cognitive domain, the creative domain, and the physical domain. So these are the five main domains. Now, suppose we pick up this story and say, did it do something emotionally? Yes, children were listening to music. Language was there. Critical thinking. What happens when it doesn't rain? What can you do? Can we make a difference? So rather than just saying "jar se jungle" and writing "jar jar jar jar" 50 times, isn't it better that the children learn a whole concept and then take it through? We've also given you one sheet of paper which you must download, and it says once you do a story with children, how many kinds of questions can you ask? So you can ask questions what, where, when, who, how many, and it is just comprehension and factual questions. Then you can have questions which say thinking questions, problem solving questions. What would you do? Do you think this could have been done better? So those are the questions you can ask. And then, do you think this could have happened is also interpretations. And then the comprehension and the drawing, the sequencing, the imagination of stretching a story. So in one story pattern, there is so much that you can do. And when you do a story, the first time, just do it to enjoy the story narration and let the children absorb it. If you notice on both sides, whether it was, Hindi or English, the first thing is to listen and understand, then to speak, then to read, and then to write. So if we actually use stories to understand concepts and take it forward, all the more better. And I think that's how it would work so beautifully for a lot of children. Because if we don't kind of give them that liberty to listen and to express, and this same thing can become so beautiful and be put out there for the children to watch. So in the sense that you can put them onto a lovely platform, and you can tell them that, okay, you can tell me a story, and I'm going to sit down and watch it. I'm going to actually enjoy the story with you. So I'm going to give you one little beautiful story. It's an animated just opening the animation. Just give me a minute, please. And so I'm also going to give you how we can use animation and then convert it into this lovely activity which is hands-on, because that is what a lot of people ask us, that is digital enough? Well, digital is a beautiful tool. It's a process which can be added on as a learning pattern. So once the children, so let's just see this first. Let's just watch this and then I'll convert it into an activity.
There are many colorful flowers in the garden. The 6 bees work very hard and collect nectar from the flowers. They make sweet honey from the nectar. The 6 bees love their home. The 6
Lovely. So I'm going to, could you hear it? I hope you could all hear it. I hope you all could hear the story. Could you all hear the story? No. Okay. All right. So let me just very quickly tell you the story. Doesn't matter. So there were 6 bees. They were busy, and a big bear came and said that I want to take away your honey. And then they said, oh my God, what should we do? So they buzzed all around the bear and the bear ran away. So that was the whole story. I showed you the animation. I think the audio was giving us a little, but doesn't matter. So now if you want children to do this story, it's so easy because you look at them and say, let's do the counting. So how many bees were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the children can actually bees. What they can also do is they can so nicely pick up the colors and say, and they saw 6 blue flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they picked up 6 red flowers. So can you please count on your fingers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the children will again count 6. So what happens is when you actually get them to count 6 different colors of flowers, 6 bees, the children get the concept correct. Now I will use this for sequencing. I'll say, okay, can you show me 1 red, 1 blue flower? So this could become a sequencing activity. First it was a language, then it became a counting activity. Now it's becoming a sequencing activity. And I change the sequence. I'll say, okay, give me red, red, blue, blue. Now I'll add another factor. I'll do red, red, blue, blue, and a bee. So it also becomes a sequencing activity. Now, it also can become a beautiful activity for social emotional development and say that what do you think are the 3 important words to use when you want something? Are you supposed to just go and take it away, or are you supposed to say please? So the please and the thank you and the excuse me can be taught so nicely in a lesson, a story, which is actually a story for counting. So every time you add on a concept to the story, don't do the whole story with 10 different ways the first time. Repetition is a very, very important part of early childhood learning. So, and when you do repetition with base being the same, but a variation, it brings in a little variety. So you can continue to do what you're doing on the story. You don't have to change the story every time, but you can change the domain of the story. So today it is just the story and we did counting. The next day it could be sequencing. The third day it could be something else. And then you can just say, maybe you can do a thumbprint garden of, bees and flowers. Maybe you can just give them pieces of paper and white sheets and say, you can paste it and make it into a garden. You can just give them simple drawing sheets. So art integration is the easiest when you do stories. When the NEP actually came out and said integrate art, integrate music, do stories, everybody felt that, oh my God, it's so complicated. But when we did My Learning Train 2013, we have done this because this is the way children must learn. So what we did over a period is we would pick up a story from the nursery, English, and we would make it a story of EVS in another level. So the integration would not only be with the domains, it also would go to the different levels, because suddenly the children will say, oh, I know the story. But it doesn't mean that the story is only going to stay in the English books. It can later be used as a story to teach them a good skill of life. So that is the magic of storytelling. You can modify it, you can change it, and it can become very, very, very vibrant. So you saw how I use the animation, and we use short animations. If you'll notice, at for the kind of work we do with children, we like to keep the animations short so that the children just see the animation, but they can do lots of things after the animation, and that becomes really, really, really important for the little learners. I think that's what we kind of aim at doing with children, that rather than giving them only animation as a form of storytelling, we would rather give animation to the children for storytelling and allow this to happen. Now, because last time you couldn't hear, let me just try it again now, and let me share one more with you. Anything that's digital, we mustn't get perturbed. I think that's the bottom line. And be so well prepared that in case the sound is not there or you're unable to, follow it, you should be able to take over from there. So it should be like a dual, like a flipped classroom where you can do the digital and turn around and then do the session for your self. That's a nice way to work with little children, right? So I'm
Bear is busy. B. Benny Bear reads books.
story of
Benny Bear goes to bed. Benny Bear wakes up on time. Benny Bear bathes. Benny Bear brushes. Benny Bear packs his bag. Benny Bear goes by bus to school.
all right. So Benny Bear is all ready for school. And now what's the sound you heard? The sound is B. And if you notice, you have it right there on the alphabet fleas. So I bring Benny Bear here and I show it to the children, and I can actually do my first sound. That easy. The integration is just that simple. So now you all have to clap. I can't see you, but you have to clap when you hear the sound B. And you have to wait till I finish, okay? So Bantu and Bablu, two claps, 1, 2. Have a big blue bag. Big blue bag, 3 claps, very good. The big blue bag has a big button. Big blue bag has a big button. So 5 claps, big blue bag, very good. They open the bag, 1 clap. They put a bottle, another clap. Bread and butter, and a bun, and biscuits. They take a bat and ball. They sit in a bus and go to a park. There, they put the bag on a bench and go to play. They see butterflies and bees, and then they see a bubble man who blows bubbles, 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 bubbles. So how many claps now? 10. Very good. So they are very happy and they go and catch the bubbles. They pick up the bag and they come home. What is the sound you heard? And your story can also help you to do the introduction to the phonic sounds. I think that is the whole happiness of storytelling, isn't it? So are we ready? Are we happily ready for the next story? I can see some hands going up. What is it that you're chatting with me? Okay, we'll catch you in a minute. So next story. Are we ready for the next story? Okay. So we are going to take you to a farm. You're going to watch the animation, and while you watch the animation, I'm going to do the story in both the languages. So are you ready? Yes. Okay. So Benny Bear is closing down. And the one more very important thing to remember when you're working with animation or anything digital is don't be restless. Keep clicking, keep the children engaged, keep eye contact, keep talking to them. Tell them that just in a minute, we are going to be going to the barn on the farm. And then, the children are waiting and they're ready for this. So please watch this. And I am going to get ready to bring Dada Dadi ka khet for you. Come on.
On the farm, Grandpa and Grandma had a barn on the farm. They had a cart that they want to push to the barn. They called all the animals on the farm. Bow Bow came the dog, and Mew Mew came the cat. They pushed and pulled the cart like that. The rooster came with the hen and chicks. He said, "Let us pull the cart like this." Then came the bird and the big fat goat. They pushed the cart up the road. Moo moo came the cow, and quack quack came the duck. They all pushed the cart that was stuck. Now the cart is in the barn. The animals go back from the barn to the farm. Can you name all the animals that live on the farm?
Okay, so what we were doing was teaching them the sound R, barn on the farm. But we did the animals, and now we talk about bilingual, right? So I'm going to do the same story in Hindi for you, right? So I'm going to stand out there. When we do our sessions for foundation teachers and parents and children, it should be the most naturally done. You should be dancing with them. You should be moving with them. There should be loads of music. So are we all ready? Okay. तो चलो दादा दादी के खेत चलते हैं. कहाँ चलते हैं? दादा दादी के खेत. मैं पहले दादा दादी की लाठी लेकर आती हूँ, है ना? तो ये तो घर में कभी कभी मिल जाती है. अगर कोई ओल्ड ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स है तो लाठी मिल जाती है ना? तो दादा दादी के खेत चलते हैं. तो दादा दादी का एक खेत था. वहां पे उन्होंने एक बड़ा सा शलगम लगाया, लेकिन वो शलगम इतना बड़ा हुआ कि वो बाहर नहीं आया. फिर दादा दादी ने क्या किया? उन्होंने जो छोटी सी बिल्ली थी उसको बुलाया. अब उन्होंने दादा दादी को बिल्ली ने पकड़ा और सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया. मोटा शलगम बाहर न आया. फिर वहां पे भौ भौ करके कुत्ता आया, सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया, मोटा शलगम बाहर नहीं आया। बच्चे रिपीट करते जाएंगे, अगर कोई बच्चे देख रहे हैं तो रेपिटिशन है ना। तो अब सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया, मोटा शलगम बाहर नहीं आया। फिर कौन आया? फिर क्वैक क्वैक करके बतख आई, क्वैक क्वैक करके बतख आई, सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया, मोटा शलगम बाहर नहीं आया। फिर वहां पे घोड़ा आया, सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया, और लेकिन मोटा शलगम बाहर नहीं आया। फिर छोटी सी चिड़िया आई, फिर सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया, मोटा शलगम बाहर नहीं आया। फिर वहां पर मोटा मोटा सा एक जो क्या आया होगा, मोटा मोटा सा, आप बता सकते हो कि फार्म में मोटा मोटा क्या रह सकता है? तो क्वेश्चंस भी डाल दीजिए बच्चों के लिए, है ना। मे बी दे विल टेल यू गाय आ गई, या ऑक्स आ गया, या बफलो आ गई। तो सबने मिलकर जोर लगाया, मोटा शलगम देखो बाहर आया। अब सबने मिलकर शलगम खाया, मीठा मीठा शलगम खाया, सबने मिलकर मीठा मीठा शलगम खाया। सो ओके, वेरी गुड। देखो हमारे को बंदर का लॉट ऑफ सजेशंस ऑलरेडी कमिंग टू अस। So somewhere pauses in a story would help the children to answer instead of telling them the whole story. So pausing during story time is another essential skill. Don't just take off. You know that I'll pause and I'll wait. So if storytelling the second time should be with pauses. When you have it with pauses, then the children start doing the fill in the blanks. The next time you say buddy storytelling, sit together and tell your buddy a story. So the buddy could be dada, dadi, friend, mama, a didi who looks after them. Another beautiful thing to do very, very regularly should be storytelling with grandparents. I think we should invite, even during these times when the children are not coming to school, try and do one storytelling a week with the children in the colony, in the building, and see how they respond. Another very beautiful thing I have to tell you on the storytelling, the storyland. Very recently, I met somebody a very interesting thing that this person has done. He has created a jhola, a bag during the pandemic, and he put some books into the bag. And he used to go to nearby places during the time the curfew was lifted, and he would carry old books. And imagine in that, and then he would go and just sit under a tree and read to children. And slowly he stopped reading the end of the story and would say, I will come back next week. And this thing, what he calls it, there's a young person called Faraz. I always would like to name him because this concept is from him. He says, my little jhola, my little bag became my sense of wonder for storytelling for children. Gradually, he started carrying storybooks and leaving it with the children. They started depositing old books for him, and the story pattern went on. So one book reaching another village. Just imagine the ease with which this can happen, right? So now, because we are talking of old books, sometimes books get frayed. So you can cut out the pictures and you can make these beautiful pop-up books. Change the story, have different characters from different stories put together. Now, how are you going to do that? Take a simple strip of paper. It's just an old card sheet. Turn it into 5 inches, and depending on how big a puppet you have, you can use it. You can make it into this nice square. Paste it. Once it's pasted, you can take a cutout and paste it on it. So it will become something like this. It will become like a square with this. And all you have to do is you have to take a book and you have to paste it like an L. Okay, 1 minute. Let me take out another book and show it to you. I thought I will show it to you in this, but let me show it to you in a plain book. I think it will come out so much nicer in that. Right. So I'm just using a plain book. I paste it like this. So it becomes like an L. And then when I close the book, the puppet closes. And when I open it, it pops up like this. And the children can write their own story. So you can help them to bring, create their own beautiful stories and completely enjoy storytelling. So story land is about creating this wonder for children, allowing them to imagine, allowing them to just, just explore the world. Now look at my little broom. So this is a broom that sweeps the room. From morn to noon, somebody threw this broom on the ground and there was just a very loud sound, and the broom said, "This is not like how I would like to be treated. I work from morn to noon. I sweep from up to down, left to right. What a terrible treatment and what a terrible sight. I'm not going to sweep the room." And the broom went and hid on the roof. Now everybody looked for the broom, up and down, right and left, up and down, right and left. But the broom said, "I'm not coming back." And then everyone looked at the broom and said, "They're really sorry. We will not do this again." So the broom said, "Okay, I'm going to come out. You have to say sorry to me. And then you have to say please. Only then will I sweep from up to down, left to right, and never throw me down again, or your house will be quite messy and what a sight." So this is a story of Mr. Broom. Now I'm going to be using a beautiful tool from the heart of India, which is the lathi and ghungi, and I'm going to actually create a beautiful theater for you. So are you ready? Okay. This is a lathi, a staff and bells, right? In India, we will just say lathi and ghungru. And it's a very, very nice tool. You can actually do stories with the beat of a lathi and ghungru, okay? तो एक लास्ट कहानी, क्योंकि अब हमारा टाइम हो रहा है जाने का, तो सुनो सुनो भाई, सुनो 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 एक कहानी, लाठी घुंघरू की जुबानी, लाठी घुंघरू की जुबानी। तो एक गांव था झज्जापुर, वहां पे रहती थी झिलमिल। उसने झाड़ू लगाया और उसको जोर से पटका, जोर से पटका, जोर से पटका। झाड़ू को लगा बहुत ही झटका, बहुत ही झटका, बहुत ही झटका। झाड़ू ने सोचा, मैं झिलमिल के कितने काम आती हूँ, मैं कितने काम आती हूँ। झाड़ू जो होती है स्त्रीलिंग होती है, पुल्लिंग नहीं होती है ना। तो ये किसी ने मुझे बताया था, कितने काम आती हूँ, चलो मैं छिप जाती हूँ। तो झाड़ू छिपी झरोके के पीछे, झाड़ू छिपी झरोके के पीछे। कौन कौन आया? दादा दादी, नाना चाची, मामा मामी, भैया भाभी, सभी वहां आए। किसी को झाड़ू नजर ना आए। फिर वहां से झिलमिल आई, कहा, झाड़ू तुम नीचे आओ। झाड़ू ने कहा, झिलमिल मेरे बगैर सफाई करके दिखलाओ। फिर दादाजी को बात समझ में आई, उन्होंने कहा कि झाड़ू आप नीचे आओ। एक संदूक दिखाया। जब कहा कि जब ये आराम काम कर ले तो यही करने दो उसको आराम। अब झाड़ू को बड़ा मजा आया। उसने चुमक चुमक कर, जरा जल्दी से सब लोग चुमक के बताओ, नाच के दिखाया। जल्दी से बताओ, चुमक चुमक कर नाच के दिखाया। This stuff, when you open it, and you spread it out, it opens like a curtain. And when you put it behind the children, it's a backdrop. So this 3 foot of stuff, it could be your curtain rods in these circumstances, becomes so beautiful for a little theater without any expenditure. A little expenditure, maybe 50-60 rupees ka lathi, little bit of ghungru, and it's a lifetime thing. It's got right now, I've taken out the airline stamps. Otherwise, this lathi and ghungru has traveled with me all over the country. So it is actually so simple to make stories come alive at home. And that is the whole power of storytelling. So the last story, but I'll do one more story. So this is that Nani ka bag. So I'm again going to use both the languages. Nani ka thela. नानी ने थैला बनाया, सबको थैला दिखाया, सबने नानी को कहा, नानी तुमने क्यों बनाया ये कपड़े का थैला? हम तो यूं ही बाजार चले जाते हैं, प्लास्टिक की थैली में हम सामान ले आते हैं। तो नानी बहुत सैड हो गई। उसने अपने थैले को तय लगाया और ऊपर रख दिया। सोचा कि कभी तो काम आएगा। फिर प्लास्टिक की थैलियों ने हाहाकार मचाया, पर्वत की चोटियों पे चढ़ गए, उनको जानवरों ने खाया। तब सबको समझ में आया कि क्यों बनाया था नानी ने कपड़े का थैला। सब नानी के पास गए, कोई अपने पुराना दुपट्टा ले गया, कोई अपनी जीन ले गया, किसी ने अपनी फ्रॉक दिखाई, कहा नानी काट के हमारे लिए भी बना दो एक थैला भाई। नानी खुश हो गई, नानी को काम मिल गया। आजकल नानियों को काम वाम नहीं देते हम ना, काम मिल गया और नानी बड़ी खुश हो गई। उसने कहा कि चलो बहुत अच्छी बात है, मैं सबके लिए थैला बनाती हूँ। अब हम थैले में थैला डालते हैं और यूं ही बाजार चले जाते हैं। गंदा होता है तो दोबारा धोकर इसको ले जाते हैं। प्लास्टिक की थैली को हम कभी हाथ नहीं लगाते। तब तो फायदा हुआ ना थ सिखाने का, नहीं तो क्या फायदा, थ थ थ लिखाते चले जाते हैं आप लोग। इट्स ऑफ नो यूज फॉर द चिल्ड्रन। लाइफ स्किल्स हैं ये, खूबसूरत लाइफ स्किल्स है, सिखाइए बच्चों को, इट हार्डली इज एनी एफर्ट, right? So that is how we've dealt with our processing, you know, our courses, our whole book, मेरी रेलगाड़ी, my learning chain, मैंने we have not written, and the best part is I have put a learning outcome there, क्योंकि ये लर्निंग आउटकम आप और मैं कैसे डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि किसी बच्चे का लर्निंग आउटकम क्या होने वाला है। We can focus, we can say that yes, this can be the learning outcome, but it is not necessary that the child absorbs that learning outcomes. So it's very important, and such a wonderful nation we have. Lat Katha, Pat Katha, Kivad Katha, imagination. There is just so much that happens in the lives of children which we don't, you know, which is so restrictive. Okay, so brush, toothbrush of bamboo, है ना, दंतापुर में दानव आया, दंतापुर में दानव आया, बच्चों को देख के खूब मुस्काया, खूब मुस्काया, खूब मुस्काया। दानव दुकान पे गया। अब हमने द सिखाना है बच्चों को, तो हम क्यों, व्हाई डोंट वी टीच देम अ गुड हैबिट आल्सो, राइट? तो द दानव ने कहा मुझे टॉफी खानी है। सब बच्चों ने कहा इतनी टॉफी मत खाना, दानव राजा यही दुकान पे आपको आना पड़ेगा दवाई लेने। दानव तो दानव था, खोल खोल के टॉफी खाई, खोल खोल के टॉफी खाई। सुबह सुबह आवाज आई, सुबह आवाज आई, दान दुख गया, दान दुख गया भाई। अब मैं आपको करताल बजा के दिखाती हूँ। ये सब इंडिया है, ये बहुत खूबसूरत टूल्स हैं इंडिया के, जो हम अपनी क्लासेस में सीख में बहुत कोई, आई एम नॉट अ म्यूजिशियन, बट सीख लेती हूँ मैं जहां जहां मुझे जो जो म्यूजिशियन मिलता है। तो चलिए, है ना, तो इसको हमने करताल को पकड़ लिया और हम बजा के देखेंगे। और दंतापुर में दानव आया, दंतापुर में दानव आया, बच्चों को देख के खूब मुस्काया। सुबह सुबह आवाज आई, दान दुख गया, दान दुख गया भाई। दादाजी फिर वहां पे आए, दातून अपने साथ बुलाए। दादाजी फिर वहां पे आए, दातून अपने साथ बुलाए और दानव राजा को ब्रश करना सिखाया। कैसे सिखाया? ऊपर नीचे गोल गोल, ऊपर नीचे गोल गोल, और खुला करने के लिए नल थोड़ा सा खोल। आप सब दानव राजा के दांत चमकते हैं, वो दंतापुर में बैठता है और सबको दांत साफ करना सिखाता है। हम सबको अब क्या करना चाहिए कि प्लास्टिक टूथब्रशेस से बैम्बू टूथब्रशेस पर आना चाहिए। ऐसे दानव राजा कहता है वो प्लास्टिक के टूथब्रश आप लोग ले लेते हैं, फिर वो नदी में नालों में बह जाते हैं और कभी वो खराब ही नहीं होते हैं। तो ये एनवायरनमेंट दुनिया के लिए अच्छा नहीं है। तो हम सबको, कोई बात नहीं, रंग ना भी हो तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है, लकड़ी का और बैम्बू का टूथब्रश जरा करिए। और कैसे करेंगे? ऊपर नीचे गोल गोल, और दिन में और रात को भी करना ना भूल। सो आई एंजॉयड द ब्यूटीफुल स्टोरीज। मुझे हिंदी की कहानियां बोल के बहुत मजा आता है। ऑफ कोर्स आई हैव अ ह्यूज कलेक्शन ऑफ इंग्लिश स्टोरीज, बट आई वांटेड टू ब्रिंग टू यू द हार्ट ऑफ इंडिया। You know, तो मैं हर वक्त एक, I always keep a little flag there in the corner, because that reminds me that my country is such a vibrant, beautiful place, and it has so much to give the world. A lot of times when people ask me, where are your storytelling, are they global? Well, we hope that our skills from India go all over the world. I think it's a vibrant, beautiful country, and our skills are varied. We don't need much, we don't need, so digital is a beautiful tool, but it can aid a lot of activities as well, right? So keep that in mind, all the domains to be touched. Parents, it's so beautiful. आप खिड़की पे बैठ के बच्चे को एक कहानी सुना सकते हैं, आसमान की कहानी, हवा की कहानी, बादल की कहानी, बिजली की कहानी, नेबर्स की कहानी. There is so much even on a little windowsill to talk to you. So I thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the evening of on the Parent Express. Bye bye. Thank you.